What do you need to look for before you buy a toy? Before you buy anything, you need to watch this video because I have 5 things that you should definitely consider before you actually purchase. So I'm gonna go over those 5 tips with you today, and I wanted to thank Blocks Rocks for sponsoring today's video. Hey you guys, it's Christina from the Purple Alphabet. We are covering the 5 things you must consider before you actually purchase a toy. This list are tips that I actually use and have used for years, and I found them very helpful before deciding if I'm going to bring a new toy into our house. I wanted to thank Blocks Rocks for sponsoring today's video. They are actually going to be my example throughout this whole video because they fit all 5 of those things that I'm going to address today. But you can apply these tips to anything that you are considering purchasing. If you're new to the Purple Alphabet, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We do educational activities for kids, ideas and inspirations to learn through play, lots of hauls, activities, shop with me's, gift guides, and all sorts of fun things. And I would hate for you to miss out on that. So click the subscribe button and you'll join in on the fun. All right, let's get on to our tips. Our first tip for today is deciding on a sensory level. Now, some kids are sensory seekers, some are sensory avoiders, and you have to really decide what category your kids fit in because some toys have a lot of noise, bells and whistles, and some toys don't, and they are very open-ended and you make the sounds that the toy is supposed to do. And because of this, every child is different, so you need to really take that into consideration before you purchase. What is this toy going to do? Is it going to make a lot of sounds? Is it going to make no sounds at all? And what would be a great fit for your child? In my example, we have Blocks Rocks, which is a hands-on game. Now, what's cool about Blocks Rocks is that you can play it with or without the app. So I think that's an excellent choice. So if you have kids who don't need that extra sensorial input, they can play it on their own, or they can play it with a group of people, or even in teams. And if you need something that is a little bit more sensorial, you can add in the app to add a little bit more sensorial stimulation. For example, in the app, when you use it, you can see the models in 3D. So it's a little bit different than seeing it on the card in front of you. Blocks Rocks can also be played on its own, so solo, but with one person, or you can play it with another person, even a group. You can play on teams, and so you can up the level of involvement from other people that way, which makes this great if you have multiple kids, one kid, or if you're a teacher and you have a lot of students. Tip number 2 is, will this toy grow with your child past a few months? A lot of times we have toys that are just for a specific time period and then they're like one and done, right? You play with it and then you don't want to play with it anymore. So you want to try and find toys that are long lasting, that kind of grow with your child and their skill level. If you take a toy like Blocks Rock, it comes with a couple of blocks. Now these can be used for your littlest ones. Let's talk about stacking, talk about color, talk about simple building, and even shape recognition. And you can take those blocks and pull them away just from the game and use them for those purposes. I love toys that do this because that means you can use them in different ways. I also want to point out that they have this preschool STEM card set, and inside here we have some mats. So this is great for your preschoolers who want to do the blocks but aren't quite ready yet for that level. So when we're talking about skills, this is something that they could do where they could easily match to the mat using the blocks, or they can match off the mat for an additional level of difficulty. Just another way to show how this can be extended and grow with your child. I have several different ones here that you can pull from, and they are double-sided. As they get older, they can make more complex structures on their own, or they can use the cards to build what the cards have. And what's great about this particular toy is that the challenges are fun even for adults. So the age range from this goes all the way from 4 all the way up to 104 or even more. And it's even recommended throughout the years as a great brain exercise game. Additionally, with Blocks Rocks, there are 2 ways to play with the game itself. So you have that easier set of cards and you have the more advanced set of cards. I like it when games do this because once you've outgrown one, you can move on to the other and still have fun playing even if they've outgrown the easy cards. Tip number 3, can it be repurposed and used another way? Now, I kind of answered this in my previous tip, but it also is a great standalone. So when I look at a toy, I like to think about how this can be used in a different way, how I can use it in another activity, how I can take the pieces out and use them as a standalone or in another game that I'm going to create. And so when I look at a toy, I like to kind of get those gears turning on how this can be used in different ways. And you might even be surprised that your kids will do this on their own. Will your child find another way to use the materials in this kit to play with something else? Maybe you're going to take the blocks and use them in a STEM kit for another project. Maybe you're going to do some shadow drawing or some art projects by drawing the blocks. Think outside the box when it comes to your toys and how you can use them in other ways. That's exactly what I like to do, especially when I used to make those toy upcycle videos way back in the past. And even in my activity kit videos, I like to find different ways to use the materials that we already have just to stretch them a little bit further. And you can definitely do that with this toy that I'm showing you. Tip number 4 to consider is, does it fit a wide variety of skills? You want to get value out of your toy. So what does this toy do as far as skill level goes? In Blocks Rocks, it's definitely a hands-on game, so it's got that going. It's a perfect toy for STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math. So you're really looking at things in that kind of spatial reasoning way of how these structures are made on the cards and how you can make them. And then you're doing a lot of trial and error. So that's what makes it a great STEM activity. And like I said, you have that spatial thinking too, looking at these on a 2D form and then taking it into your mind and working with the pieces you got to make it into a 3D form. And then if you're using the app, it's in a 3D model. So you have to really look at all sides and determining how you're going to put your blocks to make it look exactly like the model. Blocks Rocks also is great for fine motor skills, so stacking, putting those blocks on very carefully so they don't fall. And then we have pattern recognition too, and understanding how all these pieces fit together. So with this toy as our example, you can see how there's a lot of skills involved. And when you look for a new toy, definitely check off those boxes to see how many skills are involved in the toy. Tip number 5 is quality. Will this toy last? You want to get the most for your money, right? So why don't you make sure that anything you buy or bring into your home is going to last? Now, I'm a big fan of shopping at the dollar store. You guys know that. And I understand when I spend $1 that the quality isn't always going to be the best. I understand that. I know that. However, if I'm going to invest in some other toys, I'm going to make sure that they are going to stand the test of time, be handed down to future generations, or I could sell them or donate them to others after we are finished with it. So think about the quality in what you're buying to make sure that your dollar is well spent so that you can have a long-lasting toy. Now with Blocks Rocks, I wanted to run you through really quick how it works. You simply set up where you have one set of blocks for each player, or if you're playing by yourself, you'll have one set. You're gonna set out your cards. You have an easy stack and a hard stack. You flip over the card, and what's really cool is on both sides you have the picture, so each person on the other side of the table will have the correct view. Then you get to town and you start building what you see on there using your blocks. When you're done, you hit the bell and you have won that point. If you want to switch things up, you can also play this on the app, which is very similar. You just go ahead and sign in. It is a free app. You put your name in, you start the play, and you're going to see the model in 3D form, which is a little bit different than seeing it on 2D on the card. That's why I love this toy. I think it's a lot of fun. Go ahead and build your model the same way you would if you're using the cards. And when you're done, hit the app and you're going to score a point. It's going to keep track of all the points for you directly in the app. And then of course, when you're done, you guys, even putting them away is a cinch. Oh, ring the bell. Is a cinch because we have all the blocks laid out on here. So we know exactly how to put them back when we're done. Even has a nice traveling case. So once again, a great on-the-go game. You know how I love those travel activities. I'm gonna put the information to find Blocks Rocks if you are interested in it down below in the description box. And I wanna thank them for sponsoring today's video. It was a lot of fun to go over the 5 tips that you should consider before you buy any toy. You guys click subscribe to see more videos like this and give me a thumbs up to show your love.